In my last video, we talked about the dying landscape of PlayStation 5 scalpers who now have to sell their dozens of consoles that they've amassed at a loss because, well, nobody's buying PS5s from scalpers anymore because supply is caught up with demand, so might as well just buy it from your local store. And that brought a smile to my face. You know what else brings a smile to my face? The dying landscape of NFTs, this useless piece of technology that has yet to provide any sort of benefit to users. It's just the commodification of digital assets, turning digital assets into investment opportunities by making what should be infinite supply into artificial scarcity. It's just nothing useful here. It's also bad for the environment. It's done more harm than good. It just makes things more inconvenient for the sake of essentially another form of gambling that allows scammers, schemers, and con artists to engage in pyramid schemes, triangle schemes, in the hopes that they're able to amass a mass pool of money that they can take a significant chunk out of, while the majority end up making losses through these kinds of investments. All they are digital receipts, the digital assets. You only own the receipts, not the digital asset itself. You don't own the JPEG that anyone can download from the internet. It's just all silly shenanigans that contributes nothing to society, nothing useful. And so after NFTs peak in late 2021 to early 2022, it's kind of crashed significantly when it comes to interest surrounding it, Google searches and whatnot, when it comes to daily users, and when it comes to daily trading. And even companies like Meta are seeing the writing on the wall. Back in March of 2023, it was reported that Meta is winding down support for NFTs on Instagram and Facebook, two of the biggest social media platforms in the world. Here's how one of the higher-ups at Meta put it. This is Stefan Kazriel. He tweeted, "Some product news across the company. We're looking closely at what we prioritize to increase our focus. We're winding down digital collectible NFTs for now to focus on other ways to support creators, people, and businesses." NFTs, I feel, are intrinsically tied to the metaverse, and Meta as a company is so heavily invested and so bullish on the metaverse that they renamed their entire company from Facebook to Meta. And even these guys are like, as far as NFTs go for these social media platforms, it's just not working out. It's just not worth focusing on. What does that tell you about the landscape? And while it's only gotten worse since, as reported by CoinDesk here via this article published on April 20th, 2023, the headline speaks for itself. NFT marketplaces sales users dropped to lows not seen since 2021, Dune data shows. As I mentioned before, late 2021 and early 2022, that's when NFTs peaked. That's when there was a lot of hype and a lot of intrigue surrounding them before it just crashed and fell off. Before that, though, NFT sales were pretty low, and to get back to a place before that big hype in terms of user numbers and sales, like that just goes to highlight that the landscape is not improving one bit. It's not seeing some kind of recovery right now. As CoinDesk reports here, the number of unique users across top NFT marketplaces, including Blur, OpenSea, and LooksRare, has been steadily declining over the past 7 days and dropped to 7,805 on April 19th. It hasn't been that low since July 31st, 2021, when the number of unique users on OpenSea and other marketplaces was recorded at 7,455 unique users. This whole NFT landscape is a scam of a video game that players are deciding to drop out of, essentially, is the metaphor I can put out there. Many users are realizing that this is not a compelling or rewarding activity to engage in. They're realizing that interest across the board is falling, including from major companies like Meta, and it's just one of those long-term things that is just not worth staying on. This is a train that right now seems to be headed off a cliff. Now, reduction in the number of users, as well as just how active remaining users have been, will obviously result in lower sales. So sales across NFT marketplaces have also dipped over the last 7 days, with 16,149 sales recorded on April 19th. The last time the number of sales was that low was on November 9th, 2021, when there were 12,910 sales. Keep in mind that this is across all marketplaces that we're seeing less than 8,000 users overall, and less than, just a little over 16,000 sales overall. If you think about a live service video game having under 8,000 players, and with this kind of sales figures, you think, man, this game is not doing good. That's kind of what it feels like with the NFT landscape, doesn't it? The article continues, both top marketplaces, OpenSea and Blur, are seeing notable declines in unique users and sales. And there are a number of users on Twitter who have highlighted visually the kind of decline we're seeing with NFTs. Here's Giancarlo, for example, tweeting, "There's been an incredible drop-off in unique NFT buyers/sellers in the last week. Less than 10,000 wallets now on all platforms." And going to the image that he presented, you can see right here that the different colors represent the different marketplaces, and you can see this big dip right here. This is April 17th. You can see just how much lower this bar right here is compared to even January of 2023. And here's another chart by Hildobby that goes back even further, showing comparisons between now and back in 2021. OpenSea trader count down to pre-summer 2021 NFT boom numbers. Yikes, emoji face. You can see right here, indeed, a line is drawn from where we're currently at, and you can see that sales are equal to roughly that of July 2021, right before that huge spike happened in late 2021 to early 2022. Going back to the CoinDesk article, it is further broken down by individual major NFT marketplaces. Zooming in on marketplaces like Blur and OpenSea and looking at the data there, you can see that the decline is tangible, it is palpable. As for why this kind of decline is happening, well, CoinDesk reached out to a number of marketplaces and NFT analysts and whatnot, and they've gotten responses like, possible causes include high gas price and tax season liquidity issues. This is a quote from C-Launch, who admit that unique daily users are effectively at a low amount historically on both marketplaces. And scrolling further down, here's a quote from Hildobby, who shared similar sentiments with CoinDesk. "I think it's a combination of factors, but the biggest factors, in my opinion, are that not much interesting has been happening in NFTs lately, and rapidly rising gas prices aren't helping." Gas prices, for those who don't know, are fees charged when engaging in blockchain transactions. The higher the gas price, the less people be incentivized to do trades because it'll cost them. And while I do believe that that isn't helping, I believe the primary reason for why NFTs are crashing is because not much interesting has been happening in NFTs lately. Frankly, I don't believe NFTs have ever been interesting. We got some celebrity endorsements here and there early on that made people curious about it, but once people realized their true nature, essentially investment opportunities, these gambles in a very speculative market via receipts that are linked to, like digital assets like JPEGs and audio files and whatever, and you don't actually own those assets, but rather you own receipts that mean absolutely nothing, just like receipts to a piece of the moon. That's when people are like, what does this do for me? Oh, nothing. All right, moving on. And one of the after effects of all of this is that the value of specific NFT types and brands are falling as well. Right here, for example, Decrypt.co reports that Bored Apes and CryptoPunks fall below $100,000 in value as NFT momentum stalls. Blue chip NFT projects are losing value as some trading metrics across NFT marketplaces fell to nearly 2-year lows. And scrolling down here, you'll find further details. Floor prices for blue chip NFT collections, CryptoPunks and Bored Ape Yacht Club both fell below $100,000 worth of Ethereum this week for the first time in months, as the broader NFT market slumped to trading stats not seen in years. People are losing faith and hope, and so the entire landscape is just, the floor is getting lower and lower. And while all of this is happening, keep in mind that the concept of the metaverse, which I think is intrinsically tied to NFTs, as NFTs are a big part of making metaverses real and commodifying digital assets and whatnot, the metaverse itself is also a landscape that is not seeing a whole lot of traction, which is why we're seeing headlines like this. If there's one thing AI has done for us, it's killed Zuck's metaverse, as the information reports that Meta seems to be pulling back from ever mentioning the buzzword metaverse, which was Meta's favorite buzzword last year, and the whole, etymology of the company's new name, Meta. Meta's now focused on AI, and AI is actually a technology that I would like to see explored. I feel like it does have a lot of uses in video games. We have seen AI upscaling provide major performance boosts to games while still retaining the vast majority of its visual fidelity and stuff like that. There still have to be regulations and lines that have to be drawn so that AI can be used ethically, but I think the technology itself can be useful in many respects and can make certain processes better, can enhance things in ways that I think will allow us to be more productive and that will just improve technology and stuff like that. There's an exploration there that I think will pave the road to beneficial things for society. But NFTs, metaverse, all that jazz, I just don't get it. Like, they've yet to provide, any company exploring this landscape has yet to provide a single good explanation for how the metaverse and how the adoption of NFTs and blockchain and whatnot will benefit us in any way, shape, or form beyond, essentially serving to line the pockets of corporations while screwing over many people who will invest in this kind of stuff, and the majority will end up losing money. And it's not just Meta pulling out of this stuff. Companies like Microsoft and Disney are reversing their bets on the metaverse. And the fact that metaverses are also kind of crashing and dying out won't help the NFT landscape, which could have potentially been boosted if the concept of the metaverse had gained some traction, which it isn't. So suffice to say that NFTs and metaverse are seeing a kind of worst case scenario where the masses are not interested in this stuff. It's failing to garner mass adoption. It's only being cheerled by niche groups and enthusiasts. But yeah, everyone else, the masses just don't understand what it is, don't really seem to care for it. When they do understand what it is, it's just, it's a fad in the truest sense of the word, until they find a way to make this stuff actually useful and not just financially lucrative for corporations. It'll remain a fad, and it's really not hard to see how we ended up here, why NFTs are diving, and the interest, the number of users, and the number of sales surrounding it are getting lower and lower. People are ultimately not missing out on anything by missing out on NFTs and metaverse in their current state, in the way they're currently being presented, in the ways that they're currently being utilized. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the current state of NFTs. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.